Leonie from Frogfish Cards. Today I'm going to bring you something that I like to do quite often as a gift to somebody. So it's a card which a matching Tealight. We're going to be concentrating on the card today, which is a shaker card. And I'll be bringing a video after this one to show you how to do the Tealight. But it makes quite a lovely gift with the Tealight and card combo. So I'm just going to put that to one side and concentrate on the card. Like I said, it's a shaker card, and we're using the Wetlands stamp set, and we're actually going to just use the Sandpipers and the reeds today with the birthday greeting on the card. So to get started, 2 pieces of craft. One is at 2.5 inches by 3.25 inches. One is at 11.75 inch by 4 1/8 inch. You'll require 2 pieces of Whisper White. One is at 5.75 inch by 4 inches, and one is at 3.5 inches by 2.5 inches. You'll be requiring 1 piece of acetate. You probably can't see that very well on the camera because it's transparent, but it is 3 inches by 2.5 inches, and 1 piece of Tip Tap Taupe, which is 3.75 inch by 5.5 inches. So to get started, what you're required to do is to actually make this oval here that we're putting on the top of the card to make it look like it's a bit of a porthole. So I find it easiest when you're doing this to actually space your 2 oval thinlits where you require them to be, and then just using a bit of removable tape to hold them in place. So we're going to cut that with the Big Shot today. So I always place the flat side of the finlets down. Then you put the second plate on top and roll it through. Just like that. And you can see it makes a very nice ring. I always keep the little labels inside. They come in handy to use on cards. So that's our required effect. So now we're going to cut the window in the card, this window here. Now you need to use the smaller oval framelets to cut the window in the main card. So this is the Tip Top Taupe, which is 3.75 inch by 5.5 inches. Now I come down about 1/2 inch from the top, and then I just sort of eye it, but make sure that it's sitting straight and even between the 2 edges of the card. So I also tape this. When you tape this particular application, make sure that the tape goes into the center of the framelit and not to the outside, because I've had on occasions the tape sticking harder than what it normally does and tearing the card, and then you've ruined your project and you have to start over again. This part here in the middle is not as important as keeping it neat and tidy on the outside. So I tend to tape through to the middle, Again, you're putting the flat side of your framework down on your plate, placing your secondary plate on top and rolling it through the big shot, like so. And then you remove your framework and you have your central window. And as you can see, I was lucky enough to not have it stick. So we're just going to place that over there. Then I am going to attach the acetate to the card. So when you attach the acetate, you need a good strong glue or tear and stick tape. Now keep the glue or the tape to as close as you can to the outside edge of the acetate. You do not want it to be within your window. And then you are just sticking your acetate onto your card. Had a bit of something there that I didn't want, like so. So we're just turning it over and we're going to use our frame that we made earlier and stick that around our window. Like so. So then we need to use some Stays On ink. And when you're using Stays On ink, you need to also use a baby wipe and some Stays On cleaner. I tend to do it like this and then clean the stamps again in my Stampin' Scrub, rather than putting the Stays On cleaner on and then putting it straight into the Stampin' Scrub. I prefer to wipe it off with the baby wipe. So that's the way I'm going to show you how to do it today, and this is the Stays On cleaner. So we're going to want our Sandpipers, and our Stays On ink. And the reason why we're using the Stays On ink, other than any other ink, is because we're stamping on acetate today. So I just want the Sandpipers to sort of run across the bottom part of the oval, not through the middle, so towards the bottom more so than the middle. And when you stamp, make sure that you drag it over the edge of your cardstock so that it extends past the side of your page. And just stamp, and then just repeat that process on the other side. Try not to overlap your birds, just like so. Okay, so then you put your Stays On cleaner onto your stamp, and then I dab it off with with the baby wipe. And as you can see, it brings it up quite well. And then later on I'll just use the Stampin' Scrub to recondition the stamp. So then you want to do your wreaths. Now I've only used them in the bottom corner here. You can take them all the way across. You can do as you please, but for me I prefer to just have them in that bottom left hand corner. So that's what I'm going to do again today. So again, you're bringing the stamp over one edge of the cardstock so that you sort of got it half on the cardstock and half off. And then I just would bring it down slightly and across, and then down slightly and across, and that's about as far across as I would like to have it. But that's not as full as I'd like to have it. So what I did then was I just dropped it down again here and over to the left, then dropped it down again, and that gave me my desired look, although I'd probably like a little bit more up in here. So I'm just going to stamp the top part of the stamp and bring it up in there and just fill it in, and that will do me. I'm quite happy with that. So then again, if you move it away from there, you can see the effect that it has in that corner. You are cleaning your stamp with the Stays On cleaner and dabbing it off with a baby wipe. Okay, and then you're just doing your birthday greeting. So we'll get that reasonably tidy on the stamping block. And again with the Stays On, and I just sort of placed it sort of mid-drift in the right hand corner, like so. And again you're using the Stays On cleaner and dabbing it off with a baby wipe. So now I'm just going to put the Stays On away and the Stays On cleaner. You need to dab it out. See, it's quite dark. You need to dab it out, and you can see that it's leaving black marks on the baby wipe. You just keep on dabbing that out until it runs clear. So as you can see, there's no black marks anymore. So that means it's clean and ready for the next application. Okay. So now the next step is to, with the smaller piece of Whisper White, we're going to blend this piece to create the background that you can see in the shaker card, to make it look a little bit like the Sandpipers on the beach near the ocean. So how I did that was I started with Mint Macaroon and my blending tool. You just place it on an old piece of cardstock that you don't like or don't require. I tend to use all the real thin cardstock for this, so that I'm not throwing it out, but it has a purpose. So when you blend, you want to rub off first so that you don't get any of these furry marks on your card, and then you're just blending through so it's a nice smooth colour. There's no furry marks on there, it's just blending it through with the Mint Macaroon. And you just keep on doing this until you get the required effect that you are looking for. You might like it light, you might like it dark. I like it to look a bit sea green, so that's why I start with the Mint Macaroon. Then I'll move on to some Soft Sky. And it's exactly the same process. So what I'm doing is just bringing that in around the edge. Okay, I might put a bit more across that top section there. Just that. Beautiful. And then I'm finishing off with Tempting Turquoise. Now, this is what I do with the Tempting Turquoise because I think it makes it look a bit like sea spray, and I just stick it on and twist. You don't have to get carried away with it, just a little bit of twisting like that, and that's as simple as that. So now that that is done, in dimensionals that are new in our 2016-2017 catalogue, and I think they're great for this particular application. So I am just going to actually run them around the piece of blended card that we blended earlier as the background for this card. So that's all I'm going to do, is put them around the edge as such. Now when you connect the next piece, make sure that it butts up to that very securely, because you do not want any leaks in your shaker card. And it's as simple as that. There for now. So then what I do is I'm actually using the champagne glass glitter from Stampin' Up. This has been retired, but I just love it in this card because it has that sand-like colour to it, and I just think it's appropriate for this particular application. But you can use any of the glitters, or you could even use real sand. You could use whatever you have at hand. So what you want to do is you want to remove the tape on 3 sides only. So the wax paper that so just around 3 edges. Then on the 4th edge, what you want to do is just one edge of it, bring it up like so, and just fold it. Don't take it completely all the way off. You just want to make like a little tab that you can grab later. And I'll show you why I'm doing that in a minute. That's better. Okay, so that's like that. Then what you want to do is get an old teaspoon. It was my grandmother's and I keep it in my office. You can see how tarnished it is. But I like it for these applications. So what you're doing, the reason why you didn't want that top edge to stick, is so that you could feed your glitter into your card. So I usually put about 2 of those spoons, maybe 3. And then you're just really judging for yourself how high you want that to go. But I'm quite happy with that. I don't think I need to have it go any further than that. Some of you might, but we'll chuck one more in just for good measure. And that's the effect that you get, like that. So then the reason why you want this little tag here is so that you can pull that out and secure it, and now it's a sealed unit. There's no way that it's going to fall out of there. I'm going to put all this away so I don't spill it all over the floor or all over myself. And I'm going to put some more dimensional just across this bottom section of the cardstock, because you've got your box here and that's at the height that you want it to be. So I'm just going to put a couple of more strips across there just to bring it up to that height and attach it to my piece of white cardstock, which is at 5 3/4 by 4 inches. I'm also going to put some glue on this backing plate, or dimensional tape there. Just like so. And it will look like that. So the next process is to do a bit of flicking. Some people call it. To do splotching, other people call it. To do this process, again, you're pushing your ink into your lid and spritzing. I'm using soft suede in this application, like so. Then you're picking it up with your aqua pen or aqua painter. Sorry, I called it an aqua pen for years and years and years, and now all of a sudden I'm calling it aqua painter, and I get a bit lost at times. So then you're not actually applying the aqua painter to the paper. All you're doing is with your thumbnail flicking, and see how it gets those splotchy marks? So that's what you are requiring, is those splotchy marks. Just so it looks a bit sand-like. And you just do that until you're satisfied with the look of it. Sometimes I'll even tap it like that just to get a bigger blotch. Everyone has their own method of doing it, but this is mine. Like that. Then I just get a bit of paper towel. That's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. And I clean off my window just by dabbing. Do not rub, just dab. Like so. And clean out my lid. And then you're just attaching it to your piece of craft cardstock, which is at 11 3/4 by 4 1/8. So again, you're just folding your card in half and boning it to make a nice crisp fold, and you are gluing your white card craft, making sure that you leave a nice neat border, even border around the outside. And there you go, that's your finished product. It's an easel opening card, and I hope you've enjoyed this shaker card. So the next